Guys, look at my new bookmark. Hi guys, my name is Emmy and welcome back to my channel. Today we're recapping chapter 10 of Cold Front, the Winter Soldier. So we're back in 1941 and we are with Gimlet and Bucky, and they made it to that inn. It's called the Red Lion pub. It starts off with tensions really high between Gimlet and Bucky. Remember they had that really awkward car ride home. To the pub. Home! Get it together. I just think it's funny because Bucky is like obsessed about Gimlet's bag. How she literally has everything in that bag. Obviously, he probably never paid attention to Mrs. Crawford because we always have everything in our bag because we are always prepared for everything. So they sit at the bar and they wave down the bartender, and Bucky tells him, "We're here to see Mr. Yesterday." And it's so funny, Bucky's thought process, because he's like, "We're here to see Mr. Yesterday," and the bartender's like, "Oh, are you really?" He goes, "All right." And Bucky's like, "I would expect kind of exclusivity, like we're British agents, and this guy's just like, "All right, come on down." Like, he's so surprised that everyone is so chill about them being spies, I guess. So he takes them to the back of the bar and moves a bunch of these kegs, and there's a trap door. And they open it, and the bartender's like, "Get a wiggle on, get on in. That's where he's gonna pick you up from." So then finally Gimlet and Bucky start talking. They've been radio silent with each other since the cab, and Bucky starts saying this is a crappy secret hideout, that they have us in, and Gimlet's like, "It's an air raid shelter, it's not a hideout." Gimlet tries to explain to Bucky that it's just a cellar that became an air raid shelter when the Germans started to drop bombs. So then they're sitting there and they're bored, right? They're gonna be there for a while, so they start getting bored. Bucky starts looking around and he sees that there's games and he sees that there's chess. And if you remember, that's how Gimlet and Bucky met, was at a chess tournament. So Bucky grabs it, and this entire time Bucky knows that Gimlet is not in the mood for him. He's kind of annoying to her. So he grabs the chess box and puts it in front of her, kind of like a peace offering, "Oh, well, we're gonna be here for a while, might as well just play around." This part is a little insignificant, but if you remember back when we were with Agent V, who again, we have not been confirmed that Agent V is Bucky. We are just assuming that Agent V is Bucky, right? They haven't said that he's Bucky. But remember my bookmark. Hold on. Seba, please. It's falling in. So remember when Agent V is having that conundrum because the bartender asks him vodka or gin for his drink? So basically right now, Gimlet is like, "You've lied to me about everything that you are. You're not 25. You don't know how to play chess. You shouldn't have been at the chess tournament. All of a sudden you're a secret agent." So she brings up her name. She goes, "Do you even know what a gimlet is?" And so Bucky, I thought it was funny, and as insignificant as it may be, but I thought it was funny because back when we were with Agent V, and Agent V is having that conundrum about gin or vodka, and Bucky says, "Oh, will you make a gimlet with gin?" Right? Bucky doesn't know, but I just think it's funny because remember, we don't know if Agent V is Bucky. They haven't confirmed it. We're just assuming that he is because of everything he's been through and every detail that we know for sure. And I don't know, I think it's just my brain trying to connect the dots between Bucky and Agent V, and him remembering Gimlet as Agent V, because remember in the last chapter he was talking about chess pieces when they were they were wiping Agent V, and he was having that mental thought, and it was about chess pieces. Who taught him chess? Gimlet. So it's my brain is trying to connect every single dot between them two. So remember, Bucky had brought the chess board to their table so they could play, right? And so Gimlet's like, "Well, let's just play chess." And Bucky's like, "Well, you're gonna beat me. I obviously don't know." So she's like, "Well, let me teach you." So then they go on kind of a back and forth rant about him obviously not knowing anything about how to play chess except for how to move, I think, the smaller pieces. We have to go back. We have to go back. I'm gonna cry. So when they're wiping him, remember, when they're wiping him, he brings up the Queen's Gambit, right? He says, ghosts gather, one in white, one in black, opposing pieces across a chessboard. I'm trusting you, the White King says, and the Black Queen replies, we don't need a blank slate. Don't make him start over. This is far bigger gambit than you seem to believe, the King replies. The Queen's Gambit, you think. But a Queen's Gambit isn't a true gambit. Someone taught you that once, long ago, maybe in another life, maybe in a dream. Okay, wait. And then go back to page 173. And when Gimlet is teaching Bucky chess, he says he hesitated, considering the board like he had learned enough in one move to make an educated decision, then pushed another pawn forward. Gimlet nodded. The Queen's Gambit. Yes, he said, like that meant anything to him. She raised her eyebrows and he amended. No, what is that? Is that right? There's no right or wrong there's no right or wrong in chess, she replied, just different choices. He says, okay, well, he pressed his finger into the top of the pawn so hard the piece wobbled. What's a gambit? He braced himself for a laugh and yet another biting remark, but she answered with an explanatory tone of a schoolteacher. A gambit is an opening in which you sacrifice a piece for an advantage position. The Queen's Gambit isn't a true gambit because black can't hold the pawn. But if you move there, I'm going to play a slap. Agent V is Bucky. Agent V is Bucky. This just confirmed it. This confirmed, because on that last page they were wiping him. He said that someone had taught him that the gambit is not a true gambit. And I don't know why. Like, I read that and I wanted to cry. Like, I wanted to cry. Because they took everything from Bucky. Like, everything. It just makes me so sad. Like, it makes me so sad for Bucky. She goes on to say, a gambit is a sacrifice. You're giving up your pawn. She held up the piece. But now you have control of the entire center of the board. So for the rest of the chapter, she kind of just goes on to explain what chess is to him. And then he starts like describing her on page 175 that she's like not like the girls like back at home. She's a little more boyish. She wears like baggy clothes and she's like more of a nerd than the girls like he would go for. And I'm just like, she's not Bucky. Be nice. The bartender calls and he's like, hey, I'm gonna bring y'all dinner. What do y'all want? Like, there's a special. I'm just gonna bring you that, basically. They go back to playing chess, and now Gimlet is a little more like nicer to Bucky. She's not just trying to beat him. She's actually trying to teach him because she sees that he's actually like kind of sitting down to learn. So then Gimlet starts explaining a chess game between a person named Kleinman and a person named Eddie. And it's kind of their situation where Kleinman, I can assume, knew more about chess while Eddie didn't. And they sat down and they played a game. And Bucky's like, okay, well then who won? And she's like, it doesn't matter who won. It's just the fact that Eddie, who didn't know nothing about chess, sat across from somebody who knew everything about chess, who made chess their life, and still like sat there and tried his best to beat this person who he probably would not have beaten. So basically between the two men, Eddie and Kleinman, she gets to the point where like, because Eddie or Edward did not want to give up, Kleinman was like, we need to end this game. I'm done. So he was like offering Eddie on the chessboard like a draw. Like, okay, I'm done playing this game with you. Let's draw. And Gimlet is like trying to explain to Bucky like, he did not give up. Eddie did not give up. And it got so annoying to Kleinman because he did not give up that neither of them won. Yeah, like there's no winner. But he was just so adamant about not losing that Kleinman just was like, let's just draw. She says, she set the Black King in the center of the board, then leaned back in her chair with a heavy breath. I've always hoped to be the sort of person who never stopped fighting, no matter how stacked the odds are against you. Bucky says, so that's your favorite chess game? She nodded, and now it's yours too. I'm not ready for the rest of this book. See you on Friday for chapter 11. Bye!